How y'all doing? I'm Joshua Wiley, and I hope y'all can hear me real quick. You know what? My AC on. I'm gonna cut it off real quick. All right, that way I ain't gotta yell. That way I don't have to yell over the AC. And the Lord bless. I figured out a way to take my lives and upload them on YouTube. But this is gonna be the first show, the first episode in the show, The Elephant in the Room. Now, in dealing with the elephant in the room, I only want to deal with topics that's practical to real life. You know, we all got busy lives. We all got things that we do. And so we don't want to waste our time just on the things that really won't serve a purpose. You know, the Bible is so practical. You know, God is so everyday. And too many people teach God as if he's way over there, when God is right here in everyday life in every way. But, you know, I'm doing this for y'all. It hurts my body to be on Wi-Fi, but this is the only way I can go live, so I'm going to get right into it. Y'all pray with me. Dear Heavenly Gracious Father, please let me disappear and let your Holy Spirit speak, Father. Amen. And this subject right here, beloved, look, I was laughing with my friend earlier because I don't want to say I'm a professional, but I'm going to say I spent a quarter of my life in prison. A quarter of my life in prison. So the subject of masturbation, you know, dealing with me, myself, people I was locked up with, I came across a book years ago, and I read something from an old lady writer that she wrote in the 1800s about it. And ever since then, it sparked me down the path to actually research and do research on it and see how and it was mind-blowing, the results that I came up with. And I actually did a lecture on it years ago, and the Lord told me to redo it and make it the first show episode, because it's the killer in most of our lives, and we don't even know it. And you know what's so crazy nowadays is they say, everybody's trying to say, doctors will tell you, oh, it's okay to do it. You know, it's natural. What they used to call it, self-love. Be careful about that word self. You know what I'm saying? What they say, you loving yourself. You know, think about it. It's not looked at as bad. And that's crazy, beloved, because how many of us actually research what it does to our bodies and what it does up here? And I'm going to tell you, I have, and I'm going to share it. Now, this first episode is going to be on relationships, how masturbation affects relationships. The next episode after that is going to be on diseases, how masturbation is the #1 cause of most diseases. I'm telling you, from cancers and everything. And I'm going to break it down scientifically, how it scientifically messes your body up. And then the third part on this series, we're going to deal with masturbation and homosexuality. And some people might be thinking, I don't need to watch that one, but trust me, if you're a parent, if you got kids and people you love, you want to watch it on homosexuality, because what if I told you there's an agenda today to turn your child into gay? In which I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with it if you are. You know what I'm saying? I have loved ones and I have friends that is. I'm just here to spit the truth, you know what I'm saying? And give everybody their options, weigh your options. Nobody should be tricked into being gay. And I'm going to tell you, it's deep with what I'm telling you. It's deep with what I'm telling you. But, okay, but look, the first part I wanted to get into is how it's viewed today. You'll have doctors who tell you it's okay. Look, you got to remember, if a doctor tell you it's okay to masturbate, you got to remember they get paid for prescriptions. And doctors used to say it was okay to smoke cigarettes. Yeah. They used to prescribe cigarettes to their patients. So don't always trust what your doctor tell you. Do your research yourself. The motto of my ministry page is the truth loves investigation. And that's going to be the motto of this show right here, is the truth loves investigation. Don't just take what I say, go investigate it for yourself. Go investigate it for yourself. Now look, I just want to get into it. I'm going to do it quick. Now when I go over it on the second part, when we deal with masturbation and diseases, I'm going to really break down how it affects your body. But just to give you a quick synopsis of how it affects your body. Say you got a sponge. Look, I just took my wave cap off, right? Say you got a sponge. Let's pretend this is a sponge, like a regular dish sponge that you scrub your dishes with. And it's full. And look, we all are adults right here. We all grown up. And I believe a lot of pastors and teachers don't touch on this subject because, one, they're either doing it or it makes them feel uncomfortable. But that's not my... Okay, see, the devil's trying to cause disruption. I'm outside. I'm going to push the phone closer to the door because I'm outside so the Wi-Fi don't affect me as much, but I'm going to get the phone closer to the door. Hold on. All right. All right. All right. But look, like I was going to say, let's say this is a sponge, y'all, and this is your body. This is your body full of nutrients. It's full of nutrients and juices. 70% of your body is made up of fluids and water. Fluids and water, right? All the vitamins you need and everything. The thing what happens when you masturbate, we're going to talk about mentally and emotionally real quick. This is a quick summary. The thing what happens is, especially for men, when you ejaculate at the end of your masturbation, your body is given all of the good juices. All of the good juices, because your body believes it's procreating. So it's like a sponge. It rings itself. It's squeezing all the good vitamins, all the good juices, because your body is believing it's about to create a baby. It's about to create a baby. So it skeets all of it out. Now this is the thing that happens. Just like a sponge, when I let go, it puffs up, puffs back, but it's not as wet as it used to be. It's not as full of juices. Now, this is the thing about healthy eating and living. Now, think about it. How many of us make sure we get our vitamin D, 12, E, B, A, C, D, T, whatever? Many of us don't, especially we go through the course of the day eating. So let's just say for habit, you got a masturbation habit. A young man do where he does it once a day. So he masturbates. His body squeezes all the good juices out because it's giving all the good juices to the baby to create this baby. So once it squeezes all the juices out and it comes back to normal, the next day his body is lacking vitamins and minerals that is needed, right? So he goes throughout the day. He goes throughout the day eating, doing his thing. Let's say he doesn't really put all the vitamins back in that he needs, right? So he masturbates again. Now remember, just like a sponge, after he masturbated the first time, it never went back full because it is lacking those juices. And so when he went the next day eating and drinking, he really didn't drink enough water that he's supposed to drink, like many of us do. He didn't eat the proper foods. So this sponge, which already is lacking from the night before, the bad habit he did the night before, now this next night he does it again, he squeezes it even more. Boom. So the next day, same habit, really doesn't drink the water he's drinking. Let's say he drinks a little bit more. He got some water in, but still isn't eating his greens like he's supposed to. The sponge is still lacking the vitamins. Every time he ejaculates, the body knows I'm trying to create a baby. So the body is pushing out the best minerals. Just like when a woman ejaculates. We're going to talk about that too. So this second time he does it on the second day, he squeezes it out. Same thing. Third day, because it usually turns into an everyday habit. Third day, the sponge never really gets back full. Think about it, and it just goes on and on. But let's say it was every other day. Somebody might say, well, I don't have a habit where I masturbate every day. They just might masturbate every other day. So are you still eating your vitamins, drinking your juices? But this is what it does. So that's physically, it drains your body of the vitamins or minerals physically, and then it drains them chemically. It causes a chemical imbalance. Because if you do it every other day, let's say you just do it every other day, but you're still not drinking your juice and drinking your water and taking your vitamins like you're supposed to, that sponge never comes back full. So what does your body do? Your body starts to make up for it from other places. Your body might take from the colon or the pancreas and take from over here and take from over here to take for what is lacking, to take from the vitamins that's lacking from your habit of skeeting it out. And then your brain, because this is when we get into the relationship. See, that's a quick summary of what it does physically. And I'm going to deal more on that in the second part when dealing with diseases. Because can you imagine? This jumping into diseases real quick, how masturbation causes diseases. Can you imagine squeezing that sponge every day and never putting the vitamins back in it? Can you imagine what happens after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years? That's why it be friends like me, and even myself, I got to watch out with my weak lungs. You wake up one day and you got issues. You got cancer. You got this. But we're going to get in that one dealing with cancer. But now we're going to deal with the mental aspect of it and how it affects relationships. And every relationship. I'm talking about relationships with your friends, your family, and especially your spouse and your loved one. Because every day that you're doing it, your brain is releasing toxins and chemicals, because your mind is looking for, and your mind is in a state of, how would she say, making love. So there's actual chemicals that release from us when we're making love. When you're making love, and when you're supposed to be doing it the right way. When you're supposed to be doing it the right way. Now I'm going to tell you like this, y'all. The thing about today, as any man to tell you, women like y'all know, our imaginations can be off the chain. And basically, no spouse can compete with someone's imagination. Let me say it again. No spouse can compete with someone's imagination. And the devil knows this. And this is what happens. So say like you watching porn every day to feed your masturbation habit, right? And like I said, many people today believe that watching porn and masturbating is no problem, no big deal. And trust me, I'm not talking at y'all, I'm talking with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I spent a quarter of my life incarcerated. And so I took them habits even from being locked up, even to home. So think about it. When I say no spouse or in no relationship, whether you're married or you're just boyfriend and girlfriend, they can't compete with your imagination. And what I mean is, especially nowadays, you got the luxury of porn to have any color, shape, size. If you're a man, you can have any color, shape, size woman you wish for just by touching your fingers. You know, old, age, young, whatever, old, granny, whatever you into, you can have that at the touch of your fingers on these phones and in your imagination. Now remember, I was a machinist for 12 years. I love machine work. The reason I love machine work is because 1 + 1 = 2. And that's with our bodies. Machines are going to run how you train them to run. And that's the same thing with our body. If I train my body, right? If I train my body to only love a woman in my fantasy, while I'm fantasizing, while I'm masturbating, I'm fantasizing about, oh, she doing this and she's doing that and she's doing this and she's doing that. When I go to make love to my real spouse, who can't compete with my imagination, the love just don't feel the same, does it? It doesn't feel the same. You're not as turned on. That's why, have you ever noticed why if you're with somebody, then after a while, you know, the love making just seems like it's, why? Because of TV. Like, even, beloved, do you think it's just coincidence that most shows show love making in the bed, like even regular cable? You know what I'm saying? No, the devil knows these things, and he wants to perpetuate them just for these very purposes. Why? Because your husband at home may not be able to compete with the Old Spice guy who always walking around naked with a cloud around him. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it, God tried to warn us. He says, a man can't love two masters. You're either going to love one or hate the other. And that deals in this situation perfectly. Let's say for a woman. Let's use the example of a woman, because women masturbate today just as much as men. So let's say a woman is masturbating, and she loves fantasizing about a certain man, a certain way, and he does certain things. Her husband or her boyfriend doesn't reach those goals and can't do those things. Especially, why? Because she's up here in her imagination. You know what I mean? So there's two things that starts to happen. If she's trained her body, remember we're grown-ups here, if she's trained her body to ejaculate or orgasm, to have an orgasm at a certain point in her fantasies, if her boyfriend or spouse is never reaching that point, her mind isn't going to be in it, and her mind isn't going to orgasm. So in a way, we're actually hurting ourselves, you know what I'm saying, from actually having a good time with your spouse. Beloved, trust me, when I say I tried this at home, You know what I'm saying? To like, wow, this is crazy, because I did a lecture on this a couple years ago, but God told me to redo it. God told me to redo it. And the same thing with men. If you're used to fantasizing while you're masturbating, like we all do while you're masturbating, while you're fantasizing and you're used to a certain woman doing a certain thing, your spouse can't compete with that. So you're mentally not going to be in it. You're mentally not going to be in it. Next thing you know, the sex time between you and your wife, or you and your boyfriend, or you and spouse, is weaning down. Now, I didn't want to say boyfriend or girlfriend, but the sex time is weaning away, because it just feels like, like you're going to work punching the clock. Okay, here we go in the room. Okay, there we go. Why? Because your imagination, your body. Now remember, this is why I brought up machines. Why? Because your body is now used to being fulfilled, is being trained. You trained your body to being fulfilled a certain way. And your flesh is a machine. It's only going to operate how you train it. So if you train it to mentally, now remember, intimacy is like 90% mentally. The physical, this is what some people don't get in it. The physical part is going to happen naturally, but it's up here where intimacy really takes place. Up here is where intimacy really takes place. And y'all know I'm dark, so I'm going to try to position myself with the sun. But so what happens is, let's look at the natural aspect of it. So what happens is, like I say, the time starts waning. It feels like you're punching the clock. There's no excitement in it. Why? Because mentally you're not in it. And why? Because you've trained your mind to only operate on a certain frequency. This is where it destroys most relationships. And people say, that's why, have you ever noticed, that's why sometimes when you first get with your spouse or your significant other and you like, man, the love making was good, but then all of a sudden it just, Why? Because you went back into your regular, your habit mode, your masturbating mode. You went back into that regular mode, and your spouse can't compete with it. The Holy Spirit told me not to forget. That's why I brought up the verse where Jesus said, you can't serve two masters. You're going to love one and hate the other. Remember, this goes for men and women. If you're masturbating and you're living with someone and you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you're masturbating regularly, you're going to love, which one do you think you're going to love? The one where your mind is more excited because you're imagining. I'm imagining, I'm fantasizing. Woo! And like I said, in our fantasies, we could think of anything around the moon. Y'all already know. So which one do you think you're going to love more? The fantasy where you're mentally and you're truly making yourself orgasm because you know what you really like? Or your spouse, which has become ritualistic, like punching a clock. Okay, here we go. Yeah, let's get it over with. Here we go. And beloved, this is one of the sad things about it. Many times, it doesn't happen all the time, but many times you stop wanting, you start looking at your spouse like, well, maybe we're not just connecting. Your love, you start connecting your love for your spouse to the intimacy in the bedroom. And if you're not turned on to them in the bedroom, then you start to question your relationship with this person. People could say I'm wrong or I'm reaching, but I haven't seen that I'm wrong yet. You know what I'm saying? And think about it. They're pushing that today. That, if it's not on fire in the bedroom, then you don't want to marry that person, or you don't want to hear. What happened to training people? That's where communication comes in at. That's why you should be with somebody who you're truly a friend with and you can talk with about these things, about love making in the bedroom. But anyway, like I say, I'm on the Wi-Fi and I'm going to speed up right here. Let's look at the physical aspect, what it does, why it numbs you. Our bodies have nerves, and the nerves, when you're masturbating and you're making love with yourself, and trust me, this is going to be a big issue when I deal with part 3, we're talking about masturbation and homosexuality. When you're masturbating, you're making love to yourself. Beloved, just to share a little knowledge, and I'm going to go back into this when I deal with the part of masturbation and disease and homosexuality. But when you're making love to yourself, just from my little research, and remember what I said, the truth loves investigation. Don't take my word for it. Research it for yourself. God created us in a way to where men need women and women need men in the love-making area. And it's physically and scientifically that when we're making love, the testosterone from a man complements the estrogen in the woman in the inside. And she gets a boost from our testosterone that she gets from us, and we actually get a completed feeling to our chemicals from the estrogen that we get from being inside of a woman. I'm telling you, I didn't know it till I studied it. So what happens is when you're masturbating, it's testosterone on testosterone. I did not mean to do that motion. It's just habit from talking about it. But it's testosterone on testosterone. If a man is masturbating, now remember what I said, I got to make this clear. When a man and woman have intercourse the right way, the estrogen from a woman complements the man in his chemicals inside. We are made that way. The estrogen that we get from being inside of a woman complements our chemicals, and the testosterone that the woman gets from a man complements her and complements her chemicals. But when it's when it's my skin on myself, it's testosterone on testosterone. When it's a woman on herself, it's estrogen on estrogen. And this is deep, beloved, because how many times have you heard a homosexual say, I was born this way, or I felt like I was born this way, or my body only reacts a certain way? Why? Remember, like I said, you train your body just like a machine. You train your body to function a certain way. So if you train your body to only be testosterone on testosterone, what do you think you're going to start lusting after? Your flesh going to start lusting after testosterone. A woman, estrogen on estrogen. What do you think she's going to start lusting after? Why? Because she's trained her flesh. Your flesh is just a machine. Now let me get back to relationships, because that's dealing with the third and second part. Where the second part will be dealing with disease, the third part will be dealing with homosexuality, but this part is on relationships. And like I said, what does that have to do with the relationships? Look, your mind, one thing it does too also, your mind doesn't stop lusting. When you're used to masturbating and looking at porn, and beloved, like I said, there's a reason why we can get the porn on our phones, on our TVs. They got the soft porn on cable, regular cable, show people in the bed doing the nasty, long as they got the sheets covered up and all that. You know what I'm saying? Why is there so much? Why does the devil want you to start lusting so much? Why? Because your body doesn't know how to cut it off. This is where a lot of infidelity comes. This is where a lot of cheating comes, beloved. And this is where it gets a little extra deep. Because if you remember, I said our bodies are just machines. And like any machine, it's going to operate how you train it. And if you're training your body to lust after what it sees on this screen, on your phone or on your computer, now follow with me here. This is deep. This is why I had a problem. The first time I was with somebody, a girlfriend, and she was like, let's watch porn. We started watching porn this years ago. We started watching. And then I looked and I noticed, I'm like, yo, she's looking at the other man's Johnson on the screen. And it hit me. Do I want her staring at another man's Johnson? Because your body, as you train your body, you're training your body to look at other people's physical parts, on a regular basis, especially if you're masturbating regularly. And the thing about our mind and our flesh, it doesn't cut off. It doesn't stop. I know this for a fact, beloved, because I started studying this and teaching it. Like I said, I did a lecture on it about 4 years ago. Because I started teaching this and studying it, I call myself trying to cheat the system. Like, I try to be transparent and real while I'm sharing with y'all, because like I said, I'm not talking at you, I'm talking with you. You know what I'm saying? Look, I thought I could cheat the system. So a lot of the porn that I would watch would only be dealing with lesbians. I did not watch because I didn't want to sit there staring at another man's Johnson all day. That goes back into the homosexuality, how masturbation can create and spark homosexuality in people. Because there's a lot of men, think about it. Next time, I'm not saying go indulge so you can think about it and try it out. But look, when you're watching porn, you're watching other people. So even though you're lusting after the woman, say for a man, you're lusting after the woman, you're like, ooh, you're just focused on her. But your mind is taking in the guy having sex with her. Whether you're focused on him or not, your subconscious is taking it in. And here's your mind orgasms. Guess who is also in your mental picture? Yes, the guy who was making love to that woman. Well, I ain't gonna say making love. The guy who was having sex to that woman is in your mental picture, whether you was focusing on him or not. And so what it happens is, like I say, your mind doesn't cut it off. So when you're going in the grocery store, when you're just going to the gas station, when you're in church, when you're in school, when you're in work, you might just be trying to work. You might have all intentions in the world. I'm faithful to my girl. The girl might, oh, let me go back, let me rewind. And for women, you might just be focusing on the man while you lusting, while you're doing your masturbating and you're looking at your porn. You might just be focused on the man, but your mind is also taking in that woman. So when you orgasm, guess who was also in your mind's mental picture? Was that woman. And just for the women, same thing. When you're in the grocery store, when you're at church, when you're at school, when you're at work, you might have all the intentions in the world. I'm gonna be faithful to my spouse. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna be, I love my spouse. But how many times have you sat there and we all have done it. You look somebody up and down and you don't even realize it. You look somebody up and down. You've already evaluated their body. You know what I'm saying? And depending on how your habit is, you could have already slept with them in your head. You know what I'm saying? From you working with them, being in school with them, it doesn't cut off. And if the urges, and remember, let's go back. I know the dog's back there, but I wish I could be in the house around my Wi-Fi, but I can't, y'all. But look, now think about it. If you live with your spouse, because you live with your spouse and say you're masturbating and the sex with your spouse is dull and boring, like look, there's a frog over here. I don't know if y'all can hear it. That is nothing but the devil and the enemy. While I'm over here, now that I address it, he got quiet. But anyway, you live with your spouse, so you're masturbating on the side. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? And so you're masturbating on the side, so your intercourse with your spouse has gotten dull and boring. So you go to work, school, wherever you're at, and you got this I call them work spouses, because you got this person at work you're attracted to who you've been having sex with in your head all this time while you're working, and sometimes you can't even help it. Why? Because you've trained your body to be that way. And the Holy Spirit told me I just skipped over a part. That's why I love the Holy Spirit. We're dealing with when it numbs your nerve. As a man, like I say, we're all grown-ups here. Listen to the dogs. But look, as a man, I know as the sun goes down, I'm getting darker. But as a man, our tip, and as a woman, your clitoris, and I'll say as a man, the tip of our Johnson, from intercourse with our own flesh, because it's not designed that way. It is not designed for our skin to be on it, and it's not designed for a woman, for your skin to be on your clit. Because of that, we numb it. You numb the nerve. And that's why it doesn't feel the same. That's why everybody who's watching and everybody who will watch, go back in your mind to the very first time you did it, and guarantee your mind and your flesh is like, wow, it felt like this. Why did it feel like that? Because that nerve was brand new to that feeling. What if I told you, this is the good thing about God and the human body, beloved. If you stop masturbating, and trust, like when I said I tried this at home, I'm married. You know what I'm saying? About to be divorced legally on paperwork, final. But I tested this out. So it's like when you stop masturbating, your body reheals that nerve. That nerve goes back to that original feeling. And when your wife is the only one that you're sleeping with now, the sex goes from here to up here. Yeah, let me say it again. Let me explain it again. Because the top of our Johnson has that nerve, and it is not created for skin on skin. And with a woman, her clitoris is not created for skin on skin. Constant abuse of it after years and years and years, it wears out the nerve. And we never give our bodies, we never give that nerve a chance to reheal itself. So if you trust me, beloved, if you want the sex with your wife to be fire, to be top-notch, salute-worthy, okay, that's enough being silly. If you want it to be back salute-worthy, stop masturbating and watch. Give that nerve, give the top of your Johnson, wives, give your clitoris time to heal itself. And watch what happens when you do it the right way. Watch that feeling. It's like, what? You know what I'm saying? That's enough of me being silly. But anyway, but it's crazy, beloved, but it's the truth. The devil doesn't want you to know that. Why you think? That's why he has it on our phones, our computers. That's why he tries to keep porn and sexuality in our faces. So we're always, because he knows our bodies operate how we train them. And if you've trained your body to do and operate on a certain frequency and do certain things, that's the way it's going to operate. And for those who just now tuning in, I want to say it again. If you've trained your body to only orgasm at a certain frequency, like with a certain thought, yeah, the woman has to do this. I'm just speaking for me. When I would fantasize, there were certain things that I liked in my fantasies. So once those things were reached, then I would orgasm, just like a woman, just like everybody. So think about it. So when your spouse doesn't reach those things, when the person you with doesn't reach those things, then you're like, you feel let down. You know what I'm saying? You're like, well, it's just not as good. Why? I say it again and I stress it. No spouse can compete with an imagination. Nobody can compete with somebody's imagination. And the sad thing is, trust me, beloved, I've seen this destroy marriages. And I'm talking about from the men and the women point of view. And think about it. Y'all know I got a ministry and I work in the street. I meet hundreds of new people every week in the street from my business. And it's like, people talk to me all the time. And I remember one of my friends, he had a porn habit, masturbating habit. And he would tell me, Josh, I don't look at my wife the same. He was more irritable with his wife. Now that goes back to the verse. You can't love two masters. Either you're going to love one and hate the other. You're going to love your imagination, the sex with your imagination, or either you're going to love the sex with... Let me say it again. Either you're going to love the sex with your imagination, or you're going to love the sex with your spouse. And most times, we'll say 95% of the times, we fall in love with the sex in our imagination and we end up hating our spouse. That's where the things they say become more critical. You like, they get on your nerves more. It's like, man, I don't know why she just get on my nerves all the time. You really stop being attractive to them. You know, you stop being attracted to them. Why? Because you've already trained your mind to only be attracted to certain things. You've already trained your mind to only be attracted to certain things in your fantasies. And then the things keep changing and flopping as your spouse keeps staying the same. Your fantasies and your imaginations keep growing while your spouse stays the same. Nobody can compete with an imagination. And like I said, you start, and this with men and with women. And women, you find yourself being more bitter, like everything he say don't be funny no more. You hate looking at him. You like, all he did was say pass the remote. You like, why you gotta ask to pass the remote all the time? Why you always gotta, you know what I'm saying? And he like, all I did was ask to pass the remote. Same thing you with your wife. She just said, baby, do you want some when I go? Why you gotta always interrupt me while I'm watching my show? Trust me. Why? Because you're in love with your imagination, the women in your imagination, or the spouse that you done got at work now, that you're lusting with at work, or the things that you. The Holy Spirit told me my body is feeling it under this Wi-Fi, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. I'm kind of just reiterating, but I got my little list right here. But the one thing I didn't want to forget, Matthew 5:8, right? I'm gonna turn to it. Like I said, beloved, I tested this out. Look, not only if you stop masturbating in the home, it will boost when the feelings with let's just say when the main nerve starts to reheal itself, and the feelings with your spouse just start to feeling way better. The emotions start to feel way better again. For real, it rekindles something. It's like you're in love more with her touch now. You know why? Because you're not touching yourself. Your body is no longer, matter of fact, it's like an update, a rewire, a reset. That's the better word for it. It's a reset. You had to hit a reset. Reset, because you had trained your body to find joy and pleasure with you touching you, with you touching you. But now when you hit the reset, and your spouse is in your body only starts getting joy from your spouse, from intercourse and intimacy with your spouse, not just intimacy with you yourself. When your body is getting back used to intimacy, only intimacy with your spouse, even the touch of your spouse is like ooh, you know, because you hit the reset button on your flesh. And like I say, your body is going to operate how you train it. But beloved, this is where the devil, because I have friends to this day who think, I can't have a conversation with her like, oh man, look, this one is fine. She fine, bro. She fine. Ooh, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like everywhere we go. And then everybody's wearing skimpy stuff everywhere. And I'm not just saying that the women, men, we do the tight. I'm guilty. I wear the tight t-shirt sometimes, and the men be wearing the tight pants. Sometimes you see, especially leggings and all that stuff, and some men even be wearing the tight little like Daisy Duke shorts and all that. So, everywhere you go, sexuality is in your face. And if you've trained your body to lust in the dark, your body is going to lust in the light. Let me say that again. If you've trained your body to lust in the dark, it's going to keep lusting in the light. So this is the thing where it comes spiritual, y'all, on the high call stuck up at work. Because I'm not wanting to lust. Because as we know why, Matthew 5:28. And like I say, people do it. It seems like it's okay to lust and it's no big deal, right? Can you imagine going on Judgment Day and you thinking, yeah, I've been going to church all these years. I've been doing this all these years. I ain't bad at all. I've never cheated on my wife physically. But beloved, I've probably, and I'm guilty of it, especially with a masturbating habit, masturbating and porn, watching porn. If I look at as many times as I've lusted over another woman in my head, I could say I've probably cheated on my wife 1,000,000 times. Easy. But let's say Matthew 5:28. Matthew 5:28 says, "But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her," and for women, "whosoever looketh on a man to lust after him, hath committed adultery with them," him or her, "already in his heart." Can you imagine going before the Lord and he's like, and you're in Judgment Day, and you like, okay, I've never cheated on my wife, paid all my bills, I was good, I did this and did that, and Jesus says, he pulls out a paper like this. He's like, hold on, it's about 30,000 of these. It's 30,000 of them, like literally 30,000. And you like, hold on, what's that? And he says, oh, these are all your thoughts on every time that you had sex with another woman in your head. Listen to me, beloved. Listen to me. Christ just said, every time you lust on a woman or a man in your mind, it's accounted to you as if you actually did it. So I would hate to be on Judgment Day and you look and you got 30,000 boxes of pamphlets like this of all the people you've had sex with up here. And think about it. And most of it came because you trained your body to lust after other people because of your masturbating habit. Because of your masturbation habit. Beloved, like when I say, and I'm about to end this, like I said, because I'm in this Wi-Fi, but like when I say this is the devil's gateway drug, when I break it down about disease and homosexuality, most times masturbation is started when we're young. I started when I was a kid, and most times it's tragic when it starts before puberty. This is why it's important for all adults to know it. You gotta know this. So I told my kids about it in certain levels and doses as they were old enough to take it in, because beloved, when you start it at an early age, and you can actually stunt your body from growing into its full potential. I know I stunted my growth. I know somebody might laugh and be like, no, but I know I got locked up at 14 years old, and I was masturbating even before I got locked up. If you start masturbating, and this is for a boy or a girl, if you start masturbating, and we're going to deal with this more in homosexuality and disease, but if you start masturbating before puberty, which most of us do, your body, when your body is trying to kick in all the extra vitamins and minerals for you to develop, you're steady skeeting them out before it can really kick them in. So there's a deficiency there. And that's why, if you notice, some people, it takes away your ambition, makes you lazy, makes you want to just sit around the house, not do nothing. Why? Because your body is drained. But anyway, to go back from it, when it starts early, so puberty, your body really doesn't develop even going through puberty. That's why you ever see somebody in school and it's just like, and it causes your brain not to function right at a high level like it's supposed to. It causes a chemical imbalance. A lot of people who they say crazy, like when they, I'm gonna be straight up transparent with y'all. If I'm masturbating, which opens up the door because I'm feeding my flesh. Once you start feeding your flesh, like I say, masturbation is the devil's gateway drug. Once you start feeding your flesh, you feed your flesh in all other ways too. It's easier for me to start drinking. It's easier for me to start smoking. And then it causes, like I say, because I'm never letting my body catch up on its vitamins and minerals and my chemicals in my brain, it causes a chemical imbalance to where it leaves me ill-tempered. Like, for real, I'm quicker to fight. I'm easy aggressive. My temperament is off balance. It seems like I can't really function and think and focus on stuff. It got to the point to where I can meet other men and women and know when they have a bad masturbation problem at home, just from being used to it myself and from studying it. Like, if you're feeling like you can't really focus on stuff, you feel, you know what I'm saying, you really don't have no energy, you don't have no get up and go, you know what I'm saying, it's the masturbation, because it's draining you. And like I said, after you drain yourself over a long period of time, it causes disease, guaranteed, not might, guaranteed, and all kinds of diseases. Because remember, to make up for the chemicals that your body is lacking, for all them years you're masturbating, your body is going to different places. But that's in part 2 when dealing with diseases. But it causes disease, and it causes homosexuality. I love y'all, and I'm only sharing this because I love y'all. I'm in my Wi-Fi right now, which kills my lungs, so I got to get out of this. It's messing with me now. God, my body is telling me it's time for me to get out this Wi-Fi. And beloved, spending a quarter of my life in prison and jail, that's probably the reason why my lungs are so susceptible to the Wi-Fi, because of a bad masturbation habit over years of time. I'm just being 100% with y'all. But I got to get out of this Wi-Fi, but I had to do this because I love y'all. We got to get this out. It's destroying so many families, so many marriages. Like I said, your spouse cannot compete with your imagination. And sometimes, and because they can't compete with your imagination, you start loving the women and the men in your imagination more than you start loving the person you're really with. This is the elephant in the room today. And you know, masturbation is today's elephant in the room. And nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to deal with it, but Josh will, because we can't run around it. It's killing us, and it's destroying homes. And I know for a fact that these things are taking place because of it. So I don't mind talking about it when nobody else will. Y'all have a good one. God is awesome. And just remember what the elephant in the room is.